Hello everybody. Today I'm here to do a video that I've been wanting to do for quite some time, and it's a video concept that's not new by any stretch of the imagination. A lot of booktubers have done it, so I don't know who actually started it, so please forgive me if I'm not giving credit where credit is due. But today I'm doing the video idea of if you like this book or movie, then you will like this book, if that makes sense. So I said book or movie because I have a mixture of both on my list. I have some movies that if you really enjoy, then you'll really enjoy this book. And I have some that if you enjoy this book, then you'll like this other book. I hope that makes sense. You'll get a gist of how I do it as far along as I go in this video. I have about 8 recommendations for you that if you like this, then you'll like this. You kind of get the gist. Didn't mean to rhyme at all, but yeah, let's just get right into it. The first step, I have the To All the Boys I've Loved Before trilogy by Jenny Han. I'm sure you've heard of it. It was very popular on BookTube a long time ago, and then it kind of resurfaced and got even more popular when the Netflix series came out, like the movies, so you've heard of it. So if you're a big fan of To All the Boys I've Loved Before, then I am pretty sure you're gonna like The Upside of Falling by Alex Light. I read this last year. They're both YA contemporaries. They're both really kind of sugary sweet YA contemporaries at that, and honestly, they're both, dare I use the word, wholesome, where it's about a main character and she fake dates this guy, and it's just a super cute, adorable fake relationship. Both the characters, Laura Jane loves baking, as well as the character in The Upside of Falling. Her mom even owns like a bake shop and everything, so it's very similar. And to, The Upside of Falling, I haven't heard a lot of people talk about, but when I read it, I immediately thought of this book. I was like, wow, this is so similar to All the Boys I've Loved Before. It gives me the same vibes. It gives me the same kind of, oh, this is so cute, wrap me up in a hug. It's just really, really adorable. If you liked All the Boys I Loved Before, I'm pretty sure you're really gonna enjoy The Upside of Falling by Alex Light, so definitely check it out. Next up, I have a show to book movie recommendation. Here we go. If you like the show Gossip Girl, I'm not talking about the remake. I'm not watching that. No, thank you. Stick to the OG. If you like the show Gossip Girl, you will probably really love the book Anna Kay by Jenny Lee. Again, another book I read last year that I haven't heard a ton of people talk about. It's a YA contemporary, and honestly, the Anna Kay book is a retelling of the classic story Anna Karenina. Obviously very different because that book's huge and I'll probably never read it. But Gossip Girl, if you don't know, is about Gossip Girl, if you don't know, is about a whole bunch of teenagers that live in Upper West Side, East Side, I don't even know, New York, that go to this really prestigious private school, and they all have money and they drink and they do whatever they want. You know, it's like their life, they could do it. And Anna Kay really resembles that because it's really kind of the same kind of plot line where it's all about these characters that are rich and have money, that go to this private school, that can do things that normal kids can't do. And of course, there's a lot of love triangles and a lot of drama and things like that, you know? So they are very similar. Again, when I read Anna Kay, I was like, wow, this is for all the Gossip Girl lovers out there, because I love Gossip Girl. I really do. Like, I mean, like, maybe the remake will be good. I don't know. You have to let me know. I know it's currently airing, but I mean, nothing can replace Blair Waldorf from my mind. Just nothing can. So I don't know. But again, like I said, if you just are a diehard fan of the OG Gossip Girl show that was on CW, you definitely need to check out Anna Kay by Jenny Lee. Next up, I have a thriller recommendation for you. And that is, if you really enjoyed the book Home Before Dark, which is an adult mystery thriller, then I think you'll really like Kill Creek by Scott Thomas. I picked this because I think a lot of people know who Riley Sager is. There's no secret that he is definitely one of the bigger names when it comes to the mystery thriller genre. But I don't think a lot of people know about Scott Thomas. I could be 1000% wrong. There's always a really big chance of that. But I think they're just both similar because they both take place in like haunted houses. And if that's your jam, check out both of them. Or if you've already read Home Before Dark and you're like, I need more haunted house books, pick up Kill Creek. So Home Before Dark is all about this girl that kind of goes back home because she tries to investigate if her house was really haunted when it was young. And Kill Creek is all about these writers. That's right, it's about writers that go to this haunted, so-called haunted house to do an interview, and it kind of leaves them with a lot of questions and they revisit it again. So they're both definitely have very, very creepy settings. And like I said, I do hear Kill Creek talked about somewhat on BookTube, especially on Halloween, but not nearly as much as any Riley Sager book. So in case by some chance you haven't heard of Kill Creek, if you loved Home Before Dark, which is my favorite Riley Sager book, you will really enjoy Kill Creek. Next up, for my romance lovers, and my probably reality lovers as well, if you really love the book One to Watch by Kate Stayman London, which got released last year, this is all about a character that competes on a bachelorette type of show. If you really enjoyed that and you want more kind of books that are set in the kind of reality dating world, you definitely need to check out If the Shoe Fits by Julie Murphy, which is just released. So this, If the Shoe Fits is not only kind of like a reality show like take on book, but it's also a Cinderella retelling. So both One to Watch and If the Shoe Fits both follow the Bachelor type of style. This one's definitely the more of the Bachelorette, where this one is about a main character that's on a Bachelorette type of show where 25 guys compete to win her heart. Meanwhile, If the Shoe Fits is about a character that is one of the 25 women competing to win a man's heart. And they're both really adorable. They're both give you that taste of what's it like behind a reality TV show and things like that. And I really enjoyed them both. And that's coming from someone who doesn't watch like any reality TV shows. Like, all I've really watched is like Laguna Beach, The Hills, and Jersey Shore. Don't judge me, I know. But that's all I watch. I'm not a big fan of reality dating shows in particular, but both of these books are great. So in case this one got you in the mood to like read all of the reality dating books and you're like, there is none, how do I read it? Definitely check out If the Shoe Fits by Julie Murphy. Next up is one that maybe a ton of people haven't heard of, but I know I always recommend it every year in the fall, and that is the City's Baker's Guide to Country Living by Louise Miller. Like I said, I recommend it every fall because it gives you such autumnal vibes, and it's about a character that leaves the big city to move to a smaller town, and she bakes, and it's just got that really kind of small town feel to it. And in case if you really enjoy that book or enjoy the atmosphere of it, I think you'll really enjoy The Kitchen Front by Jennifer Ryan. I've been talking about this book a lot on my channel because I loved it. It's highly underrated. Not a lot of people talk about it, and it should be. The reason why I'm putting these two together, because they're both about baking and cooking and have that kind of small town feel to them, if you get what I'm saying. They're both very different, but they're also very different because the City Baker's Guide is like set in today's world or today's time. This one is a historical novel. I was really going to compare, like, if you read The Nightingale, you'll like this, but I'm like, those are just way too different because one's going to make you sob a ton and one's going to make you like happy. So, I mean, maybe you can do them for both. I don't know. But either way, both are about baking. Both are about have the sisterhood vibe to it, about friendship and camaraderie and things like that. This one, like I said, is historical. It's told in World War II, where a lot of women have to deal with rations and there's a competition, and it's just a really fun and beautiful book, and just I think will also get you in the fall vibes. I mean, maybe I just think when I think about baking, my mind automatically goes to the fall. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but either way, they're both similar in the fact where it's about cooking and baking and sisterhood and small town vibes. So check them out if you haven't. Maybe check one or the other if you've read one or the other. Next up is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. A lot of people have talked about this book, myself included. It is my favorite Christina Lauren book. It's all about these two characters that hate each other, that have to pretend they are married and go on this honeymoon to Maui. And this book gets recommended a ton for summer reads, for romance reads, for hate to love reads, you name it. But in case you're like, I've heard about this book 50 million times, give me a new one, you need to check out Shipt by Angie Hockman. This is a book I read this year, and it was really cute. I don't think it comes anywhere near The Honeymooners, but that's just me. But they're very similar in the fact that they're both kind of beachy romance, hate to love reads. So in Shipt, we have two characters that work together and they loathe each other. So you also get the hate to love for both of them. So they both have those hate to love vibes for sure, but it's about two characters that work together that hate each other, and pretty much their boss wants to give them a promotion, one or the other, and he's like, you know what, because they work for like this really small cruise company, he's like, you guys never been on a cruise, so let's go on the cruise and make a pitch, things like that. And the cruise is set in Galapagos Island, and so they go to like this really beachy place, and they realize maybe they have feelings for each other, but they're both very similar, like I said, in the fact where it's hate to love, also with kind of of the summary romance. And Shipt, I think, doesn't get nearly as much as talked about as the Unhoneymooners, which I can understand because, like I said, I really love this book, but they both are very similar vibes and things like that. So I would recommend, if you've read this and want something similar, to definitely check out Shipt by Angie Hockman. Next up is another movie. Actually, my last two are both movies. And the first one is Knives Out. So Knives Out is a movie that came out a couple years ago. Honestly, you could even do that one. I could say if you like Knives Out, you could check out Clue, another movie, which is great and so underrated. Like, nobody ever talks about Clue, and I'm like, oh, it's such a good movie. Like, one of my favorites. Like, I rewatch it every fall. I love it. But anyway, Knives Out is a movie that's kind of a murder mystery, much like kind of an Agatha Christie. You have one setting, somebody dies, and multiple people could be the suspect. You don't know, like Clue kind of. But if you really like that movie, you're like, what books are really similar to that? I have two books that I think would be great for that. The first one being an adult mystery thriller, which is Not a Happy Family by Sherry LaPena, which just got released not too long ago. In this book, basically, parents die, and they are very wealthy parents, and each one of the three siblings that they leave behind has something to gain from their death, like money. And so you're like, which one of them did it? It was one of them. Who did it? Could it be their spouse? Things like that. So it's very reminiscent of Knives Out because the detective is trying to figure out which one of these siblings did it. Like, he is for sure that one of them did it. It has to be in the family. So it's very similar in that regard. And also, if you want something a little bit similar as well to Knives Out, The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is a YA mystery, maybe. It's a fun one. It's all about this girl that gets an inheritance, and she gets like a mansion and like all this money, only the person that left it to her, like, she doesn't know who it is. Like, it's not her grandfather, it's not her long lost grandfather. Like, she has no relation to this guy, and she's like, what? But she has to go to his house in Texas, like this mansion, and meet his grandsons and his kids, and she has to kind of win them over. Also, there's like this kind of solving puzzle thing, and so she's like, why did he leave me all of this? So it's just reminiscent of Knives Out, not super like as, you know, probably predictable as Not a Happy Family is, as far as like, you know, a murder mystery and suspects and things like that, but they both give off those same vibes, and I really enjoyed them both. Like, Not a Happy Family is really like Knives Out, because Knives Out, like, every character is like, there's a lot of unlikable things about them, so you're just like, oh my gosh. And that's the same with this book. Every character is pretty much unlikable in this. And Inheritance Games just got this fun mystery vibe to it that Knives Out has as well. And the last movie recommendation I have for you, or you know what I'm saying, is You've Got Mail, one of my favorite movies of all time. It's in my top 5. I love it so very much. And if you love You've Got Mail and you're looking for books that are similar, because I don't know about you, but I always am, you definitely need to check out the book Very Sincerely Yours by Carrie Winfrey. This is her third book in the Waiting for Tom Hanks series. You don't need to read them in order. You don't need to read them all. You know, they're kind of companions, if you will. But Very Sincerely Yours follows two characters named Teddy and Everett. And Teddy works at this antique toy store. And at the beginning of the book, she is broken up with, like, and she doesn't know what to do with her life at all. And so she watches this like children's show called Everett's Place. Think of like Mr. Rogers, but also like Jim Henson. It's like a local children's program where they live. And she just really likes him. And she's like, I'm going to email him for like life advice, because why not? And so they start emailing back and forth, and they don't know who each other is. But of course, kind of feelings involved, kind of like You've Got Mail. It's definitely very similar to You've Got Mail. Like, it's the most book I've read that gave me the most You've Got Mail feelings, particularly because it was about emails, which is definitely You've Got Mail, like AOL. How many times am I going to say that? But it was just really cute and adorable. Both the book and the movie are just so wholesome, so cute, so romantic, and I was just there for it. Highly recommend you definitely check it out. If you're a big fan of the movie, definitely check out the book. So there you have my first ever If You Like This, Then You'll Like This. If you enjoyed it, let me know. If you want more of these, let me know, because I really enjoyed it. It is very tough, honestly, to try to find books that are similar, maybe not as talked about as much, things like that. But if you enjoy it, I definitely like to challenge myself and do more of these. Please let me know in the comments. And if you have any recommendations of, if you like this book, you'll like this book, please also leave them in the comments below. It's a fun thing to think about, you know? Like, it just gets your brain working, like, if somebody likes this book, what book will I recommend to them that is similar to that other book? It's just, I don't know why. It's just very interesting. But nevertheless, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.